Humphrey Bogart is considered one of the best actors of old Hollywood. It was almost impossible to go to the cinema in that period without seeing him. So keep watching to learn hidden details that only true fans know about Humphrey Bogart. Early life. Humphrey was born in New York City. His actual birth date is either December 25, 1899 or January 23, 1900. His surgeon father, Belmont, was descended from New York's first Dutch colonial settlers. Bogart comes from the Dutch word for keeper of an orchard. His mother, known as Lady Maud, was an illustrator, magazine editor, and suffragette. She liked to dress him in elaborate outfits she sewed herself. Her drawings of him even featured in a national campaign for Mellon's baby food. He had two younger sisters, Frances and Catherine. They lived in an Upper West Side apartment and owned a 56-acre estate in Canandaigua Lake. He enjoyed his time there, and it was where he nurtured his three favorite pastimes: sailing, chess, and acting. His parents were both career-obsessed. They provided for him but weren't affectionate, and he was mostly taken care of by their servants. He attended but was expelled from the elite Trinity School because of poor grades and participation. He spent his last year of high school at Phillips Academy in Massachusetts, but left after one semester after failing 4 of 6 classes.
This video is sponsored by Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers boxes of awesome top-shelf goods from under-the-radar brands. It's free to join, and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. 90% of the products come from small brands, many of which are based right here in the US. Every month, they introduce members to cool new products: outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing, and more, even live oysters, based on a preference quiz that you fill out. Every box of awesome has around $70 worth of goods inside, and it only costs you a fraction of the value. You can even preview your box before it's shipped. Each month, you'll get a box of awesome assigned to you, at which point you can decide if you'd like to 1. Keep it, 2. Swap it for a different box, or 3. Skip the month entirely for no charge. You only pay for what you want. The first box I received was the Destination box, which comes with the garment duffel from Half Day. It's my go-to travel bag because it can fit a suit, dress shirts, and shoes, plus some casual clothes, neatly and compactly. My second box was the Swivel box, which comes with the Revolve tray and a Tigerwood rollerball pen. The moment I received this box, I was able to declutter my desk by neatly organizing cables, pens, and other items. And the Tigerwood rollerball pen was a fun addition that feels really nice to write with and looks super elegant. Both of these boxes of awesome were truly a great value, and now I use these items all the time. To get 20% off your first box of awesome, click the link in the description and enter FaxVerse20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/FaxVerse20.
Navy service. Humphrey was an intelligent but perpetually bored student. He had no career prospects after graduation, so he enlisted in the Navy during World War I. He left service on June 18, 1919, and tried to re-enlist for World War II, but was rejected because of his age. He then volunteered for the Coast Guard Temporary Reserve in 1944. He was a model sailor. He started as a coxswain and then a shipper and salesman after his enlistment ended. He also joined the Coast Guard Reserve. His service reportedly left him with a permanent scar. The story goes he was working with the military police and a prisoner smashed him in the face with his handcuffs while trying to escape. It was also the source of his trademark lisp. Career. Humphrey's acting career began when he met stage actress Alice Brady. She made him the company manager of a touring production of The Ruined Lady. He made his stage debut in 1921 in a production of the play Drifting. He had only one line, delivered in a fake Japanese accent, but even then his father realized he had talent. He acted in 17 Broadway shows from 1922 to 35. His film debut came in 1929's The Dancing Town. Spencer Tracy supplied his famous nickname Bogey when they worked together in 1930's Up the River. His chance to become a serious actor came after his supporting role in the 1935 Broadway production of The Petrified Forest. Warner Brothers had wanted to turn it into a film with Edward G. Robinson as the lead. Leslie Howard owned the rights and refused to make it unless Humphrey was in it. He earned a studio contract after that, and his first 34 films from 1934 to 40 were gangster movies. He joked that he was, quote, shot in 12, electrocuted or hanged in 8, and was a jailbird in 9. His dream of top billing came true in the 40s. He was in High Sierra and the Maltese Falcon in 41. He appeared in his most famous film, Casablanca, in 1942. The set of To Have and to Have Not in 1944 was where he met Lauren Bacall. They starred again together in The Big Sleep, Dark Passage, and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. The Committee for the First Amendment. Humphrey was a liberal Democrat and what he deemed an gangster. He was never afraid to speak his mind and didn't believe anyone else should be either. He organized the Committee for the First Amendment as an opposition to the House Un-American Activities Committee and what it did to limit screenwriters and actors. Humphrey also knew when to step back. He wrote an article titled "I'm No Communist" for the March 1948 issue of Photoplay magazine. He wanted to distance himself from the Hollywood 10, the first 10 men to be put on the House Committee's blacklist. Santana Productions' final roles. Humphrey took his stance against the industry one step further by founding his own production company in 1948. It was called Santana Productions, named after his beloved yacht and the cabin cruiser in Key Largo. His final films with Warner Brothers were Chain Lightning in 1950 and The Enforcer in 1951. Santana Productions released its films through Columbia Pictures, except for 1953's Beat the Devil. Humphrey had a string of films with the company, including Knock on Any Door, Tokyo Joe, In a Lonely Place, and Sirocco in 1951. In a Lonely Place is a classic because his character, Dixon Steele, is often considered the one that's, quote, closest to the real Bogart. Beat the Devil was his final work with John Huston and a tongue-in-cheek parody of the Maltese Falcon. Most of the other Santana production films lost money at the box office. He was forced to sell to Columbia for over $1 million in 1955. Katharine Hepburn recommended him for the lead in The African Queen in 1951. His wife Lauren Bacall joined him and tended to the cast. Everyone but them caught dysentery during the excruciating filming. His attitude became more difficult to deal with as he aged. He complained and got along poorly on set during two films in 1951, The Cane Mutiny and Sabrina. He could also show his softer side, though. He helped blacklisted actor Gene Tierney seek treatment for depression during the filming of The Left Hand of God in 1955. He also insisted on having Joan Bennett as his co-star in We're No Angels when no studio would hire her. His final film was 1956's The Harder They Fall. Love life. Humphrey Bogart had the name, the face, and the voice to attract Hollywood's ladies. He met his first wife, Helen Menken, acting in a production of Drifting in 1922. They were married in 1926, but they divorced after less than a year due to neglect and abuse, but they remained friends. He married Mary Phillips in 1928. They divorced after she moved from New York to Hollywood. He married Mayo Metho in 1938. They were both heavy drinkers and had an unhappy marriage. They earned the nickname the Battling Bogarts before divorcing in 1945. 2 weeks later, he married Lauren Bacall when she was 19 and he was 44. They had 2 children, a son named Stephen and a daughter Leslie. The pair were happy but incompatible. He loved staying at home or on a boat. She was a night owl who got seasick. They had numerous torrid affairs with other celebrities, but never stopped loving each other. Humphrey the chess champion. One of his only chances to indulge his passion for chess on screen was in Casablanca. The scenes may have even been written in at his request. He reportedly hustled players in New York and Coney Island as a child. As an adult, he was a tournament director and member of the Hollywood Chess Club. He said in a June 1945 interview that he played almost every day and said it was one of his favorite activities. Rat Pack. Humphrey was part of and one of the leaders of the original Hollywood Rat Pack. He gave them the nickname after a party in Las Vegas in 1955. The name stuck. Frank Sinatra was the president, Humphrey was the director of public relations, and Sid Luft was the cage manager. Columnist Earl Wilson asked what they were doing, and they said they formed to, quote, drink a lot of bourbon and stay up late. Humphrey's death. Humphrey's declining health forced him to refuse film roles, including a play in 1955. Lauren Bacall had to persuade him to see a doctor who diagnosed him with throat cancer in 1956. He had surgery to remove his esophagus, 2 lymph nodes, and a rib on March 1st. It was unsuccessful and followed up by chemotherapy. The cancer metastasized in 1956 and required additional surgery. He died at age 56 of esophageal cancer on January 14, 1957. Now it's time to hear from you. Were any of these facts about Humphrey Bogart surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below.